We live in a world of infinite information.
Hmm.
Again, I just told you what you need to know about fitness, but if you don't believe me, Google it. Ask ChatGPT, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Read one of a million books on health, weight loss, diet, nutrition, fitness, mindset, whatever your thing is. There's a book out there, a podcast out there, a speaker out there, a YouTube out there, a TED Talk out there that tell you the exact answers laid out step by step. Again, this isn't just about fitness. You want to learn about business? You want to build a business, a startup from A to Z? Go read a book. They
Yeah.
have a book about that. Again, ask ChatGPT. It will tell you. We have a step-by-step blueprint for any goal that you could ever possibly have. And yet we still struggle to do those things, to take those actions. So inherently, that tells me lack of information is not the problem. People think like, oh, I
Yep.
just need the right whatever, the right meal plan, the right
Hmm.
workout plan, the right business plan. It's like, no, I just gave it to you and you're still not doing it. Why are you not doing the thing that you say you want to do is the more interesting question to me.
What's up, you beautiful beasts? I'm Katie. I'm on a mission to help humans become their favorite versions of themselves and to strive for overall health by healing their relationship to food and exercise, healing their relationship to their body, and most importantly, healing their relationship to themselves, all without ever having to step on a scale. I have had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora of experiences just being a human and existing. I believe that every single time someone shares their story, at least one person listening will learn from it, be inspired by it, and maybe, just maybe, even change the entire direction of their life. These are the stories of humans unveiling their beautiful beast. Keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast. Well, it's nice to meet you, Paul.
Thank you so much. It's nice to meet you as well, Katie.
Can you tell me who's Paul Levitin? Who are you? Why do you think you are who you are?
Oh, what a deep question, jumping
Hmm.
right into the deep end. Well, currently I am a podcast host, my own podcast called Change Made Easy. I'm a public speaker and a writer. I have been at times a personal trainer, a fitness coach, a nutrition coach, a health and wellness coach, a sales coach, a business coach, lots of things involving helping people be better versions of themselves over the last going on 15 years now. And I got there because I fell face first into self-development and whatever that makes you think of. I don't really like the term self-help, personal growth, personal development. And it changed my life. And I started to just believe in becoming the best version of myself. And then once you start to learn that and feel that and instill it in yourself, the only next logical step to me is to help teach it to others and help other people do the same thing. So that's where I'm at now.
I love it. And that's so true. Like once the door is open and you start removing the layers, the whole world changes. Even, at least in my experience, I look at people differently and their opinions differently. And because you know that those are just their layers.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's so many different aspects to, this as like, hey, the journey or, and it's again, like one of those things, one of my favorite quotes is like, healed people heal people. And it's like, it's why so many people who are personal trainers have the same story. So many people who are holistic coaches have the same story. So many people who are whatever, people who help others tend to have gone through a journey of their own first. And then they're like, oh, life is so much better on the other side. And I see people struggling. Why wouldn't I want to help my friends, my family, strangers, whoever else?
Hmm. Are you open to going deeper into your story and sharing it with the listeners?
Yeah, of course. What do you
Awesome.
want to know?
Well, what was either a time or maybe something that happened in your life where you had a complete shift, like in the moment shift in your head that kind of made you say something like, I need to change, or oh my gosh, this is blowing my mind, or just something that made you go, oh. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Um, well, so one that really stands out to me is just is the birth of my nephew. So I'm not a parent, but I have a nephew, my only one. I have one sister and she has one son, so that's my one nephew, the one next generation of our family so far. And in my 20s, early 20s, mid 20s, I was not the way that things are now. I was not on
Mm,
a path of personal growth and personal development. I was not into health and wellness. I was not into all of these things that I am into now. I was probably the exact polar opposite with a lot of partying and drugs and drinking and other things that were probably illegal but can talk about now because the statute of limitations are long past. And I just, there was a day when my sister, when my nephew was born, she gave birth like 4 in the morning or something like that. And I went to the hospital that day and I just remember holding my nephew and just being like, oh, there's something bigger than me. That
mm,
this life is not just about having fun at the expense of all else, meaning doing drugs, drinking, partying, because what else matters? Because I'm just trying to have a good time and I'm not here for a long time. That there is something bigger than me and there's other lives that I can and should affect. And that was like a real light bulb moment to where it was like, okay, I can't be the person that I need to be living the way that I am now. So something has to change. And, you know, the timeline split at that point and everything has been different ever since. So that's one of the most salient ones that comes to mind.
mm. Is that when you got into health and wellness?
Well, no, so I had been a personal trainer at this time anyway. So
Okay.
I became a personal trainer right out of college just by happenstance. I needed a job and it's an easy job to get, really. People think that you need some type of degree or something. You don't. Anyone can be a personal trainer. So I started as a personal trainer at a gym near me but I was just doing it at 22, 23, 24, just making money and then again going out partying, using my money, going to gamble and do other things.
Mm.
I wasn't taking it seriously for myself or for others. It was just like it was a means to an end. It was a paycheck. And
Yeah.
after that, I kind of pivoted and started to really embrace what I was given because fortunate for me, I was in a world already of betterment. So I was very fortunate. I was in the perfect circumstance where when decided to actually take things seriously and better myself, I was in the right place to do it because I was already in a world of fitness. I was in a world where people valued their health. People talked about meditation. People talked about reading books and things like that. I just hadn't embraced it up until that point. But then I started to do more of that, spending more of my weekends going to seminars, spending more of my time listening to audiobooks rather than going out late at night and partying, spending more of my time doing the things that I already knew I probably should be doing. But up until that point, I was like, well, why would I care to do that?
Yeah. And how did that show up in reflection in let me rephrase that. How did that show up in your clients? Did their experience change too?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it did just because it made me better at what I was doing.
Mm,
So I started to invest my time, my energy, my money, my attention into myself, which inherently makes me better. And a better me leads to a better anyone that I come in contact with. So all of the time that, again, I would have normally been out partying on the weekend, but now I'm going to a weekend seminar to learn some new technique, some new thought process around training that inherently helps my clients. But also, I say all the time on my podcast, a rising tide raises all ships, right?
mm,
That to me,
yeah.
the only thing that I have to do, people ask me, what's the mark you want to leave on this world? What's the impact? What do you want to be remembered for? I don't care. I don't think about any of that. The one thing I know is I all I need to do is lead the best life possible. If I do that every day, then the impact will take care of itself. The ripple effect will inherently be. If I focus on me today and do the best I can today, then tomorrow I do the best I can tomorrow, and then the day after I do the best I can the day after, inherently that's the best I can do, and that's all I could ever ask. So
Mm,
by me investing in myself, reading more books, going to more seminars, not spending all of my time and energy and attention on alcohol, on drugs, on partying, on chasing girls, and all the other things that come along with it, again, inherently that ripple effect is such that my clients get a better me, my nephew, my sister, my mom, anyone who comes in my atmosphere is positively impacted.
Yeah. It's so powerful when you're doing something you love and you're staying in the work and embodying the work so much so that you it's not what I do, it's who I am. Like this work is me rather than it's what I do. Um yeah, and it does have that ripple effect on clients for sure because they can see it in your eyes, you know.
Yeah, totally. So again, I started as a personal trainer, nutrition coach. Like
Hmm.
I said, I've done lots of other coaching. People, again, like I said before, I don't like the term self-help. I like personal development.
Yeah.
Similarly, I don't like the term life coach, although theoretically that is what a lot of people would consider what I do,
Hmm.
because there's a level beyond just fitness. That's why I don't just call myself a personal trainer, because I can help people learn how to exercise, and I'm very well equipped to do that. I can help people learn how to eat, and I can do that. But there's a level above that and beyond that when we talk about mindset, when we talk about just personal development and personal growth. And when I speak with clients, when I speak on podcasts, when I speak on stage, whatever, something that people always ask is, how do I get other people to be on this journey with me? How do I get my partner, my girlfriend, my parent, my son, whoever that they know they need to be whatever it is. They need to be reading more. They need to be exercising more. They need to be smoking less, blah, blah, blah. It's like, how do I get them to do that? And it's like, you don't. All you can do is lead by example. You show up as the
Yeah.
best version of yourself every day, and eventually that rubs off on people, because if you're getting better and they're getting left in the dust, that's not a good feeling. And either they decide like, hey, you're getting good and I want to get good to stay right there with you, or they don't and they have to reckon with that disparity as well. Either way, they figure it out themselves. You can never force someone to change. You can only work on yourself. So
Hmm.
all of that is the viewpoint I've taken for helping people. As a trainer, as a coach, as anything, it's just like I'm going to be the best version of me. I can give people advice. People say, "How do I do X, Y, and Z?" I can tell you. I'll never tell you what to do. Say, "This is what I'm doing. I'm
Hmm.
happy. I'm healthy. I'm living a great life. You can, do whatever you want to do. You're an adult. I don't really care. But here's what I would do if I were you. Here are the steps that will help you get to where you want to be. But I would
Hmm.
never tell someone what to do, nor would I ever assume that I know better for anyone else's life what they should do. All I
Hmm.
know is how to live my life. But again, you can learn a lot from what other people are doing.
Absolutely. And I love what you're doing. There are a lot of parallels to I'm also a personal trainer, fitness, nutrition, the fancy titles don't matter, but um I don't like calling myself a life coach because it's so much more than that. And the reason I added that piece into my business is because through personal experience, I know that our health is so much more than just what we eat and how we move. Um, my clients have a mental training session every other week. And so, like, we don't go to the gym or anything. We just sit and we talk, and I help them talk through their shit. And so I think it's so powerful because it's like, are you sleeping? Like, what is your past like? What did you grow up thinking about your body? Um, did you feel like you were enough growing up? And it's all those things wrapped up into a package. And so I love that you're also adding that piece to it because it's so with all the influencers posting so much BS on social media, it's that piece is forgotten quite often, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, why I go even a step further. And I think that it's like that piece is the only piece.
Hmm.
Again, the fitness piece, the nutrition piece, that's easy.
Hmm.
We solved that. You want to eat healthy? I can tell you how. Eat mostly fruits, vegetables, and lean protein. Don't eat a lot of processed foods. You want to have a healthy body? I can tell you how. Get a good amount of steps, strength train three, maybe 4 times a week. Get some zone 2 cardio once or twice. There you go.
Right.
Go be healthy for the rest of your life. I just solved all of health and fitness in 30 seconds. And yet, here we are still struggling day after day, week after week, month after month, because
Yeah.
as the saying goes, if it were that easy, it would already be done. And that's where it comes down to the stuff between our ears, the mental
Mhm.
stuff, the mindset, whatever you want to call it. And that's why my podcast, everything I do is called Change Made Easy, because what I've come to as understanding this, doing this for again over 12 years, working with one-on-one clients, I've worked online, I've done a lot, I've done group training, I've run companies, all of this stuff. It's like the only thing that I can see that trends through everything is that we need to make things easier on ourselves because this stuff is already hard. Whatever
Mhm.
thing you're struggling with, inherently you're struggling because it's hard. So people think that that the answer is to have more willpower, to find motivation, to whatever buzzword, find your why. And it's like all of those can work and might work sometimes for some people, but the only thing that works 100% of the time across the board is to make the thing you're doing easier. Reduce the friction so you have less reason not to want to do the thing, and then you end up doing it more. You're more consistent. And as we all know, consistency is the thing that actually gets us a result. The best workout done once does literally nothing. The best
Mhm.
meal done once does literally nothing. The worst meal done once does literally nothing. But what you do every day, that matters a lot. So, how can you be consistent in your efforts, days, weeks, months, years, and then everything just falls into place?
Mhm. And to kind of add to that, like get rid of the things that are blocking you from doing the consistent things. I know for me, when I didn't have the mental training piece in the beginning when I became a trainer, and I'm like, okay, so most of us know what to do, but why the hell aren't we doing it? And I'm like, I kept going, something's missing. And then I got that training and I was like, oh yeah.
Right.
That,
Well, that's exactly the point, right? It's
yeah.
if we live in a world of infinite information.
Hmm.
Again, I just told you what you need to know about fitness, but if you don't believe me, Google it. Ask ChatGPT, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Read one of a million books on health, weight loss, diet, nutrition, fitness, mindset, whatever your thing is. There's a book out there, a podcast out there, a speaker out there, a YouTube out there, a TED Talk out there that tell you the exact answers laid out step by step. Again, this isn't just about fitness. You want to learn about business? You want to build a business, a startup from A to Z? Go read a book. They
Yeah.
have a book about that. Again, ask ChatGPT. It will tell you. We have a step-by-step blueprint for any goal that you could ever possibly have. And yet we still struggle to do those things, to take those actions. So inherently, that tells me lack of information is not the problem. People think like, oh, I
Yep.
just need the right whatever, the right meal plan, the right
Hmm.
workout plan, the right business plan. It's like, no, I just gave it to you and you're still not doing it. Why are you not doing the thing that you say you want to do is the more interesting question to me. And that's why I started not focusing on fitness so much. And my talking, my coaching, my speaking started revolving more around this stuff,
Hmm.
how habits, routines, the mental things that help us change our behaviors. Because at the root of everything is behavior change. And if you can change your behavior, if you understand what goes into changing a behavior, whatever behavior you want to plug into that formula will work itself out. So I don't have to tell you what the best workout plan is. I have to tell you how to be consistent. And then once you're consistent, you plug in workouts and you become consistent at working out. You plug in eating healthy and you become consistent at eating healthy. You plug in reading more, you plug in whatever you want. But the thing isn't how do I read more? It's how do I be a person who shows up consistently?
Mm. So I think that um I'm kind of taking a right turn. I think that we can learn as much from our clients as we can teach them. And so my question for you would be, what are some of the biggest things that you personally have learned from your clients over these years of doing what you do?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can learn something from anyone, right? I never supposed to be again smarter than anyone or know anyone anything better than any one person. I think the main thing that I've seen over and over again is just the reality that you can do anything if you put your mind to it and you decide to. Meaning, I've had clients who have every excuse in the book to not be able to do what they're doing, and they've
Hmm.
got it done. I've had a mom of 7 who works full time and has
Oh,
kids
wow.
between the ages of 1 and 18, all living at home, but found a time to work out 3 times a week in the gym with me. I've had clients who run 3 businesses and are full time single parents, but still find the time to do what they need to do to meal prep or whatever else. And then I've also had people who have none of those limitations and somehow find every excuse in the book. Not to say that it's easy, not to say that those limitations aren't real, not to say that those
Mm.
excuses aren't real. They are, but again, it's always easy as a personal trainer to say, just show up more. And it's like, well, I work at a gym. I'm a young guy with no kids. I have all of the time in the world to work out a bunch, right? And it's like you're telling some mom of three, like you need to be more doing cardio or something dumb like that. And it's like, again, I would never do that. But I have seen firsthand people in your shoes, people with bigger challenges than you, who have figured out a way to do it. That's not to say that you have to, but that is to say that it's possible. And seeing that over and over again with older clients, with, again, busier clients who are running businesses, successful entrepreneurs, moms, dads, whatever, everything in between. And the people who decide that they want to succeed. And that is the main difference maker that I've seen in a lot of people over and over.
What are your thoughts on the phrase, we all have the same 24 hours in a day?
I mean, that's true. And yet also, we don't have the same limitations on us in those 24 hours. So it's both, right? It's a paradox because 100% we all have the same 24 hours.
Yeah.
But again, a single mom of three who's working during the day and trying to get her master's is not the same as me when I was 25, a single and working at a gym 8 hours a day and could just work out for 3 hours and be like, "Well, you're not losing weight." And yet, on the other side of that three-headed coin somehow is the fact that
Mhm.
you could go on YouTube right now and find a guy with no arms and no legs doing power cleans. You can find a single mom of three who works three jobs and just finished her PhD. You can find
Mhm.
everything that you're talking about struggling with and find someone who has had it harder and still succeeded. Now, again, that doesn't make it easier. That doesn't take away your struggles. That doesn't make it any less real what you're going through. But that is to say that it is possible. And if it's possible for someone else, it's possible for you. And that's something that I always like to remind myself and remind my clients.
Yeah, I was just curious because I have a hard time with that phrase. I'm like, but I mean, yes, but no.
Right,
And,
exactly.
and it also depends on, where your headspace is too. You
Right,
can, like you said, you can be the person who has no kids and has all the time in the world and still has the excuses not to do
right.
the thing. So, yeah, I
Well, you
like
just summed it
your
up.
version of that.
You just summed it up right there, right? Yes, but no, and it also depends. I mean, that's the answer for
Yeah.
everything. The
Yeah.
reality is everything is in the gray area. We want black or white answers. We want it to be just tell me what to do, this or that, yes or no. But the
Hmm.
reality is there's nuance to everything. And again, if it were that simple, it would already be done. That's something I say often. If it were that easy, you would have already done it. So there's no reason to think that you can't like do something because you have limitations, but you also have to respect that your limitations are real and you can't compare yourself to someone else's journey or someone
Right.
else's reality.
Yeah. That's for whatever reason, you just reminded me of another one that I don't like is well, just work out more and eat less.
Right. Right. Oh yeah. Thanks.
Oh,
Well, this is what it's exactly right. Eat more, move less, right? That's a big one, right? Or again, just, oh, if this is another one, right? We know that motivation is fleeting, right? People love to throw that around. Well, you can't rely on motivation. Motivation is fleeting. What you need to rely on is willpower. What you need to rely on is
ugh.
discipline. It's like, what the fuck is the difference? You just like that you just changed one stupid buzzword for another. That's like
Yeah.
telling someone who's drowning, you just need to breathe. It's like you're not telling me anything. You're not telling me what to do or how to do it. So you're actually not helping me. Right. So all of these things, and again, theoretically you are right. Just eat more and move less. But we go back to what are you up against?
Hmm.
Oh, that we live in this world where hyper palatable foods are available for an app that will deliver to me, and a drone will fly a hamburger into my mouth in 30 seconds. And we work at jobs where we sit all day, and we have all movement sucked out of our lives. So it's like in
Hmm.
theory, all of these things are true, but again, that takes away. That's not appreciating or respecting the nuance in life, and everything is nuanced. Everyone's life is different, and that's the main thing that I've learned also as a coach is that although I can paint with a broad brush and just say like I just said, most people need to eat more lean protein, eat more vegetables, eat less processed foods, get more steps and strength train. Like I can say that across the board because I do believe that. But If that were the answer for everyone, for everything, then there would be no obesity epidemic. There would be no people who have diabetes type 2 and all these other things that we still see. So clearly there's a level there of like, yes, that's a simplified view, but that
Hmm.
won't help. That will help everyone, but only if they can get to do it. And it's the getting to do it part that trips people up.
Yeah. You just kind of brought something up that I recently learned and kind of blew my mind is the people who like they do all the things, they eat right, they work out for an hour a day, but then they go sit in their job for 8 hours and they still in their head because they're doing all the things, they think they're active, but they're actually still sedentary. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, an hour of activity, three, four, five times a week. I mean, you do, percentage. There's 164 hours in a week or something like that, 168. 5 hours out of 168 is 3% or something. So you're now active 3% of your week. Does that constitute being an active person with an active lifestyle? I don't know. What do you think? So that, it's
Yeah.
one of those things that the reality is the human body was meant to move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they say movement is medicine, but I also don't agree with that. Movement is life. You take medicine when you're sick. Movement is what keeps you from being sick,
I
right?
love that.
So we're supposed to move. And for a billion years of human history, we have had to move. And in the last 60 years of human living, we have had cars, trains, planes, offices, desk chairs, cubicles, and a million other things that have taken movement out of our lives, right? I've had clients ask me all
Yeah.
this time because I would be like, you have to move more. You have to. They're like, well, how come my grandparents didn't have to work out? It's like, because they were fucking farmers.
Yeah.
Because they were door-to-door salesmen who walked 8 miles every day to get a piece of bread, and if you lived that way, you wouldn't have to work out either. But now we live in a world where all movement has been taken away from us. And like I said before, these ultra processed, hyper palatable foods are being force fed to us. So we're losing on both ends, and we have just lost everything that makes us human. And to get it back, you have to be deliberate about it. It won't happen by accident. You won't stumble upon healthy foods every day. You won't stumble upon enough movement. You have to forcefully put it into your schedule, which is hard when you work 8 hours a day, commute two, back and forth, want to sleep eight and want to have kids and make dinner and stuff like that. And it leaves very little time. So I respect that and I understand that. But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't matter to your body. Your body needs what it needs. And what it needs is movement, sunlight, fresh air, sleep, healthy foods, more movement. And it's a complex scenario to try to get that all in. But that's where we're at as a society.
Yeah. For the listeners, what would you recommend, like for somebody who is in that situation where they are, working out every day and they have a job where they sit? What are some things you would recommend for people to like sprinkle in to their day just to make them move more
Yeah,
and not lose their
literally
job?
literally anything. That's the thing, right? People overcomplicate this. What should I do?
Yeah.
Literally anything. If you're going from sitting, anything is movement. I'm standing right now on a walking treadmill. So if we weren't recording, if I was just doing emails, I would be walking right now. I get
Mm,
about 10,000 steps a day on my walking treadmill while I'm taking calls, while I'm doing emails and other things like that. Obviously, for some things, I can't do that, right? We're trying to record. I'm not trying to be panting
right.
and out of breath, but that's fine. Okay, so that's option A. I've had so many clients that alone will change their life because if especially for people now who work from home a lot, or a lot of people have this luxury. If you're at a desk 8 hours a day, even if you switch to 2 hours a day walking, that's a quarter of that was normally sitting. Then now you're walking, you're going to get easily double, triple, quadruple the amount of your daily steps, and that's life changing.
Yeah.
That's the easiest one. If not, if you're working in an office, I worked in an office at one time. It was a office in like one of those large office buildings. We had a bathroom right outside of our office door. So as soon as you left our office, the door directly across was the bathroom. There was also bathrooms all over the building. So I went to the bathroom on the farthest side away from where my office was, and I counted the steps. If I went from my desk to the bathroom right outside of our door, it was about 50 steps there and back. If I walked to the farthest one all the way across the building, it was about six to 700 steps. Now, assuming I go to the bathroom 4 or 5 times per day in a 8 hour workday because I drink a lot of water and I stay hydrated, that's an extra 3,000 steps right there.
There
You
you
could
go.
also do push-ups, you can do squats, you can do jumping jacks, you could ride your bike to work. That's a huge one too, right? Like you could also all the little things. Another one is all of the little things where you drive to go to the grocery store that's a mile away, to run to Dwayne Reed or Walgreens or whatever it is, to go to drop your kid off at school. Like walk, 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 walk more. It sounds almost so stupid simple that people will be like, that can't be it. But that really is. That will change your life.
Yeah. That's so huge too. I recently heard um a pretty big influencer. He was on a podcast with somebody else. I don't remember who she was, but they were talking about and almost kind of poking fun at people who say that walking is exercise. They're like, walking's not exercise. I'm like, I was so disheartened because I highly respect this person, and suddenly he's saying walking's not exercise. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
So, so this gets into a little bit of like, nitpicking, but
Uh-huh.
I do discern between exercise and movement. So,
Right.
exercise is something that pushes your limits. Movement is movement. Anything that moves your body. I'm gesturing to you right now as we talk. I'm moving my
Hmm.
body that theoretically burns calories, not theoretically, literally burns calories.
Right.
And if I were to stand here and gesturing at you for 8 hours, I would burn more calories than if I just sat still like this. So walking is one of those things that it can be exercise depending on the amount that you do. It is always movement, and movement is what we need every day. We do not need to
Hmm.
exercise every day, nor should you, because we need to rest and we need to recover. You should move every day. I
Hmm.
believe in what I call no 0 days, and that's no days of no movement. So that might be lifting 3 or 4 times a week, 1 day of yoga, and those other days are walking or stretching or foam rolling or something where I at least move my body. They understand that doesn't mean that if I go for a walk for 1 mile, if I've never walked before, if I'm obese, I have bad knees, that is
Hmm.
exercise because it's taxing on my body. But for
Yeah.
me personally to walk 1 mile, that's not exercise because my body, I could run a mile and still not be out of breath. So therefore, that's not strong enough of a stimulus to give me an exercise effect. So it depends who you're talking to. That does not mean again that
Yeah.
exercise cannot be sorry. That does not mean that walking cannot be exercise. But I think the
Hmm.
bigger point is it doesn't matter. It's movement, and movement is what we need. Exercise is great because we need to push
Hmm.
our limits from time to time, but daily movement is the thing that people are lacking the most.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. And it goes back to the it depends. Because when I heard that, I was thinking of the person who sits on their couch and they're obese and walking is the only thing they can do right now. And if
Right,
somebody like that heard him
right,
say walking is not exercise, that could
right.
potentially cause that person to be like, fuck it, I don't even know what
Hmm.
am I gonna do now?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, 100%, right? And so that for that person, it is exercise. And that
Yeah.
is why those black and white statements are dangerous because everything again is nuanced and it's a longer conversation. And I would hope that anyone who has any sense would be able to get to this. But sometimes we hear sound clips, especially on Instagram or TikTok or something like that. It's those
Yeah.
little 5 second punchy, like, huh, people say you could walk for exercise. That's not exercise. Roll credits. It's like, okay, well, sorry, like that's not very helpful for anyone. And that's why I like podcasts because it's a longer conversation. I have over
Yeah.
350 episodes of me talking conversations just like this,
Nice.
thousands of hours. It's like if it were as easy as a 30-second clip, I would have given that to you. I wish I could sum up everything and change the world in that time. But the
Yeah.
reality is, nuance is time consuming and that's where people get frustrated.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing that people can take away from this particular conversation is that everything's nuanced. That's my new favorite word. Um, yeah. I do have one more question for you. And I ask everyone at the end of every episode, and that is if you had one piece of advice that you could give to everybody, what would it be?
Yeah, make it easier. Whatever you're trying to do, make it easier because that is the only way to succeed. I'll die on this hill. People think that
Hmm.
again, like, well, you just have to be okay doing hard things. Like you just have to, no, everything can't be easy. It has to be hard. It's like, yeah, that's true sometimes. Sometimes you do just have to muscle through it. A hard workout that you want to quit, like you just got to power through. For short-term goals, you can willpower through. But for lifelong goals, eating healthy, being fit, improving your intelligence, improving your relationship. These goals don't have an end date. So if you're trying to do them through sheer willpower, what you're saying is eventually I will give up because willpower is finite. And one day I will not have the willpower to keep going. And on that day, I will have quit. So if I start a goal with that intention of like, I can do this as long as I have the willpower, what I'm saying is I can do this until I quit. And if I say that, then I might as well just quit now because consistency again is the thing that matters. Where instead, if I go, how can I make this easier? How can I make this so easy that I don't not want to do it? Right? If you're dieting and you're like, oh, I can cut out carbs and I love carbs and I hate not eating carbs, but I can do it till I lose the weight. It's like, well, then you're saying eventually you're going to go back to eating carbs and you're going to gain the weight back. But if you say, I am eating healthier and I don't really miss anything that I'm giving up. I'm making some substitutions, but I feel better. I have more energy and I actually like these new foods that I'm incorporating in my diet. That sounds great to me. Sounds like you're going to be very successful. If you're saying, I know I'm supposed to go lift weights 3 times a week, but I just hate lifting weights. And like every time I do it, it's so hard to get to the gym. It's like, I think lifting weights is great too. And I think you probably should be doing it. But if you hate doing it, and instead you can go, well, I really like going to Pilates twice a week and Zumba once a week. Although theoretically lifting weights would be more beneficial, it's not more beneficial if you don't do it. So you make it easier for yourself by finding the thing that you actually want to do. And I have a whole checklist that I go through to take people through this step by step of how to make their habits and routines easier. It's literally a framework, EASIER, it's an acronym, that if people want to check out my podcast, or I can give you a download that people can go through and check it out for free.
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful Beasts, Paul Levitin signing off. Until next time.